memory lapse, huh? Get well soon. Maybe it's too much for someone like you. Delusional. It won't always be so easy. You still look a little unwell.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Obviously, you just probably saw the other K.Asante from the future talking to you. And I'm here with some very, very special guests talking about a game that, I'm honest with you, I'm very excited about. I almost actually put it out on Front Street, but then I was told not to because there was an embargo, and I adhered to the embargo. But it was hard, I'll be honest with you, because it's a great game, and I want people to know about it. I'm here with the dev team from... Okay, so first off, you guys are going to have to talk to me about the name of the studio before we even get to the game. I'm here with the team from She Was Such a Good Horse. Welcome, gentlemen. Felix and Martin, thank you guys so much for being here. Martin, we'll start with you, sir. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm doing good, and we're happy that you liked the game. It's we worked on it for so long, so it's so cool to hear people talk about it, and it's still weird that people have seen it. It still feels like like we were sitting there in our basement and creating it, but very, very fun to be here.
And before we move to Felix, tell me a little bit about what your role is on the project. Martin.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm a creative director and one of the co-founders.
Oh, okay, excellent. Okay, and Felix, how about you, sir? How are you today? And give us a bit of what pieces of the puzzle you play in this project.
I am the artsy leader, art director of the group, and yeah, so that's my role in the group.
Excellent. So let's start at the top, because clearly there's one who's a founder, and you guys are at the upper echelons of the organization. That name, where did that name come from? I need to know.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we started out, we all agreed that we didn't want a studio name that was like that sounded like a studio name. We wanted it to be something that's not usually like a studio name, and we thought, like, how can we name ourselves that's it's a bit odd and a bit different. And then we had a bunch of suggestions, and this one kind of I know that I for one got really attached to it. I kind of really liked that it was too long, and it's a bit sad, and it makes you think of like a story. And you kind of like, when you hear it, you kind of think of a horse, and I don't know. It really stuck a chord with me, especially, I think, and then eventually all the others at the studio they grew to love it as well. But we usually just call ourselves Good Horse, which is way shorter.
Okay. See, when I heard that, the first thing I thought is the people who came up with this must be having a lot of fun with it. And I'm sure I half expected that every time somebody asks you where that comes from, a different story shows up that's completely different than the last time you told it. You know, like almost the almost the Joker, the origin story kind of thing. I'm like, that's a very unusual name, but I appreciate it. That's very cool.
No, that's actually spot on.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, you know, like every you would imagine you would talk about what led to that. I'm just like, that is a very odd name. Okay, I appreciate it. And keeping in the theme of that, you guys seem to be a little unusual in your execution of this environment. You know, beyond just the name of the studio. And then of course into the Unwell. Now, before we even get there fully, is this the first project you guys are working on, or do you guys have history from other studios that you bring to bear here? What is the origins before Into Unwell became?
So do you want to go, Felix?
Yeah, sure.
Please, Felix. Yeah.
Actually, during the time when we were talking about making this game, we got this opportunity to work with Coffee Stain on a game called Midnight Ghost Hunt. So, and with that opportunity, we could form a company and learn to work with Unreal Engine, work as a, how to run a company, and so that was a really valuable experience.
Okay. So Midnight Ghost Hunt, which I've played, by the way, great game. That was your first experience for the team itself, or have there been other games anywhere like on the team that brought experience into this project? Was Midnight Ghost the first project you guys can say you did together?
Yeah. Yes and no. I think like it's the first that we did as Good Horse.
Okay.
But we all worked more or less at the same time at Ubisoft Massive and worked on the Division 1. But that was such a huge project. So even though we all like we're 5 founders and we all like now we know each other well, but back in the day, I don't think everyone knew each other, but everyone knew someone. And then eventually when we got to know each other over time. But so technically we have worked on a project together before, just not in the same, since we're all vastly different proficiencies and stuff. But so we were on different teams. But yeah, so we've done one game before.
Excellent. It's interesting. You guys are not the first I hear that are ex-Division devs. You Division devs are like pretty prolific. I've seen you guys tentacle your ways to lots of great games these days. It's really cool. I think it was also from Sweden, the folks that make Exoborn. I was talking to them a little bit as well. They also have also some lineage from the Division. Very cool. Very cool.
This is like down the street from our office. So they're also
There you go. That's very cool. That's very cool. Yes, and they have a great game as well. I was totally enthralled with what they were doing. So about Into the Unwell. I'm sorry.
Actually, we lent some of their employees as well.
There you go. Yeah. Friends used to work together. Maybe you borrow a couple employees here. So into the Unwell specifically. So I will tell you that the reason why it excited me is I'm a kid of the 80s, and actually if anyone who's played this game will remember that time frame when old 80s cartoons and stuff that were kind of inappropriate for you to be playing at 8 or 7, kind of inappropriate. Like you guys remind me of like even in the 90s, like Ren and Stimpy, something like that, where you're just like, these guys were on some kind of drugs when they did this. It probably shouldn't be provided to children, but it's really awesome. Like it really like harkens on being on the edge of family and approachability, but you could definitely tell there's a darkness there. So how about you guys tell me? I'll start with you, Martin. How about you tell me? What was the basis of this idea? It sounds like it's a very bold idea, right? It seems like something that might not go over well in certain circles. What do you think?
Yes, I think you're correct, and definitely Ren and Stimpy have been something we've thrown around the office a lot.
Fantastic. That's awesome. There you go.
but I think like in terms of the game and the theme of the game and how we handle them is kind of like we never add anything if it's not from like a place of love, like you mentioned, like Ren and Stimpy, for instance. Like even if we add something that's maybe considered to be like in those shows, it's often things that are like very gross, and it's for a like fun thing to add. But then in that case, we would add it more in the sense of like a love letter to like something from Ren and Stimpy, or it could be something that's even in our own life, which I think is often the case. So it usually comes from a place of like not everything we add is something that we love, but it's coming from a place of like a safety or something that's like we never try to add something that's unjustified, or like we don't add something that is uncalled for, if you will. Like I don't know, something like that.
So it all fits together as it should, even though it doesn't look that way initially. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay. So then the next question is for Felix. I'd imagine this probably wasn't the first idea you guys had, right? I imagine there were many ideas, as studios do, right? You ideate and you prototype and you come up with one that the cream that rises to the top. What was it that made you guys go, screw it, we're just going to do this crazy unhinged thing where you're, cartoons, and it's a really bold place? Why? What led you guys to go, you know what, we're just going to stand out in the crowd and do something unique? What was that?
I think during the time when we were discussing forming a studio and making a game, I was doing this art prototype with a chicken running around. It was called No Country for Old Hen.
That's great.
A chicken.
Well done, sir. All right. That's good.
It was about a rooster that had lost his opportunity to, how do you say that? Kukuliku, what's that sound called?
Oh, to vocalize, he couldn't crow.
In the morning the cock to wake everyone up, and he lost his opportunity to do that, so he had to kind of find his balls, I guess, or something. His confidence.
Find his mojo. Yeah.
Mojo.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah. No, but enough of that sidetrack. That it blew up on Twitter, one of these GIFs, and some noteworthy publishers reached out to us, like Devolver wanted to talk to us all of a sudden. So we felt a lot of confidence in that art style, and it did like a dark version, Dark Soulsy Cuphead in 3D, and all of us really like roguelike, so I think that was the direction from the beginning, and then it grew a lot from there during like hard discussions about what is the backstory is going to be about, what colors are we going to allow ourselves to use or not, and stuff like that. So it was it's been a long and really interesting process.
So that's surprising to me, because playing, and obviously I only played a little bit of it, like a small tiny piece that you guys put out there, playing what I've played, it seemed to me like a person who initially had a vision to say something and made a game in order to do so. Right, the psychology of it and all of that, it felt like someone with a mind to speak to the consumer, but do it in a very interesting kind of way. You're not beating people over the head with the message. So instead, you start off in a shrink's office, and all that other stuff. That's actually another reason why I really wanted to talk with you guys. It seems like this kind of hides a lot of serious topics and serious conversations around this wonderfully ridiculous, he's throwing pizza at you, you're fighting the tube of toothpaste, but there's, at the heart of it, there seems to be a serious conversation with the consumer there. Would you speak to that a little bit?
I think that started when me and Morten, or the team, hired a writer, and he made this really dark document and backstory that we really liked, and we started building this. It's like these themes that the world would then build the world upon. So, because we wanted exactly that feeling that you describe. Like you can't. I remember we talked about Lars Trier, this very arty Danish director. I obviously don't know exactly how he works, but I can imagine it feels like he works in a similar way. He has these themes that he has in a kind of a layer under the story. If you understand.
Yeah.
I can
Interesting. Okay.
I can fill in a little bit, because I
Please, yes.
think it's a very interesting question. And So we initially we early on, before we even had a story in place or anything that we built on, we wanted to be like, we wanted devices of the characters to kind of be like their powers. We wanted to build them in like a in that kind of dark way, and then we didn't really know like everything that would be like with the how the story of the characters would develop. And then we kind of had like it's a good friend of mine, Alec, who we hired to like create this backstory. And after that, we kind of felt like, yeah, this is like a really cool direction. And then I know Felix quickly like started building the initial hub world of it, like the whole loop town and how dark it was. And I think
where the unwell is, which is really, really hilarious. It's very good. Yeah.
But I think like a lot started from just those simple ideas and simple concepts that we had, and then we kind of just ran with it from there. But yeah, it's like so many years ago. So what came from where, I'm not sure, but something like that. What's the start of it?
So if I understand this correctly, the writer that you guys brought in kind of put it on the path of where it is. Did they also account for a lot of the humor as well? Because it's very funny, like unusually funny.
No, I think they. So what Alec did mostly was that he provided us with some much needed grounding of the world. Like it's more meant for the developers to think of, like, okay, so where is this actually, and what's grounded this world, and what's happening, what is the reference to, and that helps us a lot to build upon that. But then the art style and the humor and all that, that's all on us. So the story is more, or the narrative, the narrative pillars, I should say, is more like what's beneath the surface, kind of like what the players will perhaps not see. I think.
Yeah. No, look, please go ahead, Felix.
Yeah, but I think the humor comes a lot from like individuals in our team, just shooting from the hip, putting stuff into the game, and then we see if it's how it feels when you play it. Is this fun, or do we need to tweak it? We have our Easter egg master, one of our employees, called Balder. He's a master of just adding things to the game, kind of in secret. And so we when we play test each other week, we get to like
discover what's been added. That's funny. Really that's fun. Very good. All right.
Really fun way of working. So we have this kind of. I think that adds a lot to the game. Us having fun when working on it, like, and people work in slightly different ways, and their personality kind of get added to the game, in my opinion. And
I speak to a lot of developers, like indie specifically, the developers who, small teams, this and that. Why? Because I feel like a lot of the essence of what they want ends up in the final product more, right? The bigger the project, the more it gets refined towards the end. Maybe it's not what you initially thought, right? And the more indie you are, the more your vision makes it to the end. You guys seem like it's very much, it looks like a fun project to work on. It looks like a bunch of folks sitting around, shooting the crap and just talking about, and it can do this, let's make it do that. And it can do that, and let's make it do that. It sounds like there's a lot of fun being had here creating this process. What's the team size?
Right now we're 10. We started out as 5. So
okay.
We were 5 for most of the time, or maybe not most of the time anymore. But we started, I think it was like 2 years. Felix, correct me if I'm wrong. 2 years or so before we started ramp up. And once we had hit production, we felt like we needed more hands on deck. So now we're full, hopefully. So 10.
Okay. But it is very much like you described. We sit around and giggle and like, what if that could be? But what if that trash can was a milkshake? Into
What if a pizza could take a piece of itself and throw it at you? I was like, what the hell? You know, it's very good what you guys have put together here. You know, but like as I'm understanding how you guys are crafting this, it's very surprising because again, I feel like what's on the page, at least what I've seen, is a person with a vision and bringing it out. Because it's just so many crazy disparate things that kind of come together and work perfectly. And you got these cartoons and they are like very foul mouthed and they're, you know, there's a lot that comes together to make this soup work really well. And in addition to the underlining conversation we were having about there being very serious themes and, you know, like actual messages, real messages. You guys, your tagline is "Embrace your vices." You know, like it doesn't sound like something that comes from, "Hey, we're just having fun." It sounds like we were on a mission and we're just trying to hide all of the medicine, basically, in between all the fun that you guys are having. Right? Is this just accidentally becoming very introspective? Because it seems like it's very introspective, although, you know, on the surface of it, it's just slapstick and goofy and all of that.
I think if you, I just had one thought. When I first drew the first, for me, okay, when I drew Shark Cat the first time, it was definitely like a very a sad moment for me when I drew him, and so I think that added something to that character, and that kind of, for me, pushed it in that direction as well. Maybe I was a bit inspired by Morten's makeup as well, and and also listening. When you're sad, you listen to Post Malone, and I was kind of fascinated by his way of. It seemed like he was always on some kind of drug. Like he went normal, he was on some drug, and then he would go to another stage, probably where he's like even more depressed and hangover. So the idea was from the beginning that this cat was kind of like Post Malone, and one side of him was this normal but fucked up version, and then the other one with super depressed hangover. That was it.
So I heard it first here. When this game inevitably becomes the hit that I know it will be, I will play this video. It was based on Post Malone. Good to know. That's so good. That's hilarious. Wow. Okay. Okay. So besides and I know you said you built the art style, right? You were responsible for the art. I love the hand-drawn animation. I love it's got this locomotive feel to it. The way the art looks makes it look like, to your point, like everyone's on drugs watching it. It's like a fever dream of some kind. Was that like something you guys, when you got the character and you started going, this is where you were going, or is there iteration to finally get you there?
I think I want to try to like put some kind of weird stereotype of something that you can see out in the world in each character. For example, like the anvil in the village that is a workaholic. We don't say that, but he is a workaholic, and he's just banging himself.
Always smacking the yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I relate to that in one way or another. So I try to hide these traits in all, so all the characters have something that we can maybe relate to in our own lives.
Okay. Yeah. So then my next question, you guys call your co-op the support network of your nightmares. Like, where are you guys coming up with all of this stuff? Because, like, obviously games have tropes, right? They have features, they have sets, but as I found it looks like you guys are setting yourselves apart a little bit with all of this stuff, right? And it's very difficult for me because I expect more people to see this, and obviously you guys are keeping it on the wraps for now, and I feel like there should be a lot more attention paid to all of this stuff that you guys are doing here. Where is this a vision, or is it just accidental?
So it's definitely a vision. I think from the start we've always leaned into like the contrasts. So I think like we, as you mentioned before, like we do want to have some, even though it's cartoony and it's fun, you can see like in the cracks, you can see like the reality or the sadness kind of, and I think that's kind of like we try to do that in as many aspects as we possibly can. Like as Felix mentioned as well, like we do sit around the office and we do want to have fun, and we allow people to add something that if they think that's going to make the game funnier or better or so. But we also allow things like, you know, if you had something that you struggle with, that's also okay to add, and anything that you want to have in the game. I think we, as much as possible, we allow it. And as Felix mentioned before, like we do allow people to just add Easter eggs to the game, and it's you know, we just think it's fun that everyone, it's like a melting pot of all of our ideas and thoughts and whatever we struggle with at the time or what we think is funny at the time. So I think it's like it's all of it at once, and that's very much like by design. That's how we want it to be. And I think since we all come from AAA, or most of us come from AAA, we've had so long where we're like restricted to what we can actually put in or what we can actually do. So it's from the beginning, that was one of the building blocks we wanted to build the studio on, was to have everyone should feel that they can contribute and they can have something meaningful in the game. And I think that's the result of it, I think.
Excellent. So I will tell you, my daughter happened to be watching when I first started playing this, and the tarantula freaked her out. Like, she didn't get to hear him speak because there's certain words, you know, but just seeing him show up freaked her. Oh my God. And she ran. She's 8 years old. So there's that. But yes, the game seems to have a lot of personality, you know, and I'm excited for people to see it because I feel like it's a little unusual and different from what people know and expect, you know. Comedy first games are few and far between, and you guys seem to have that, as well as, you know, underlining some really interesting messaging and things like that. So I think you guys are going to do really well in this. I'm excited for more people to see it. When do you think we're gonna? When are you guys gonna start, you know, ripping the bandages off and start showing people, and maybe we see it on all the various stores and whatnot? When we're gonna see some more attention to this game?
So we actually don't have anything set in stone just yet. We recently decided to just add a bunch more stuff to the game. So we're just gonna have to look a bit closer to all the stuff that we want to add and see where the cutoff point is, and then make a decision. Like, but it's something that we always discuss with Coffee Stain, like how big the games should be, because at some point, you know, you have to make a scope decision and say like, well, no, you can't add more. Now we have to actually release it. But so far they agreed that the things that we're gonna add are too cool not to include. So we're adding them, and then we'll have to sit down and have the talk about actually releasing the game.
Okay, so that was a selfish question for me, because the question was veiled in a when can I play it again. Clearly, that's not anytime soon.
Well, we hope to have another round of beta.
Okay.
In the near future, but that's as much as I can say. But
Understood. Okay. So, and I assume that when I know you guys basically haven't landed the plane yet, you haven't even planned it, but where do you plan to have this, if you do have a plan, to be playable? I'm obviously, so you guys know, I played all of it on this device when
nice.
In Germany. I played it on this, loved it. I played it so many times. I loved the game. It was so hilariously good. When can more people get a chance to get a hands on? I wanted to show videos, but I was told no, can't do that. So, you know.
Well, we can provide you some video footage. But so we don't have a release date set yet. So we actually don't know. We are going to release in early access first.
Okay.
And then we have to take it from there. But we can say that it's for sure next year. It's not going to.
Okay. So 2026 is when the early access will happen, or the release?
Yeah, the early access.
The early access. Okay, excellent, excellent. Hey, that's not too far to look out forward to. That's great. That's great. Okay.
And
Well, all right. So yeah, please, Felix.
and we're releasing on Steam. If you asked about you wanted to
Yeah.
know
What other platforms is it? Are we going consoles? Obviously, Steam. Any other plans? Any other derivatives that we might need to be aware of?
it's Steam, and then we'll see later.
Yeah.
Understood.
We hope to release it on everywhere, but right now there's no plan set in motion. So it's for early access. We're all in on Steam.
Excellent. Okay. So and I have a few lightning round questions that I want to throw your way before we adjourn. But before we get there, and I'll leave this to you, Felix. What is the elevator pitch? If for somebody that's not me, who's not loving like what I've seen, you've seen the video. Maybe I show a little bit on the screen. You're intrigued. What do you want to let them know to make sure they put that on their wish list? I know I'm putting you on the spot, right?
Let the demonic therapist goat help you escape Loop Town. That's my elevator.
That's the elevator. That's all the elevator pitch you need. Like a demonic goat therapist helping you get out of the unwell. I think that sells itself. That is fantastic. But okay, last couple of questions and then we'll get out of here. And this is for each of you. First off, of all time, favorite video game. Martin, go.
So my favorite video game is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that just came out not too long ago. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. I was actually chatting with a friend who's also a big fan of Masquerade. We were talking about potentially playing the new one. That's cool. How about you, Felix? What's your favorite game? Game you go to whenever you feel like it. Good game.
It's probably my strongest experience is Morrowind.
Okay.
The water was so beautiful in that game. I remember like yesterday.
Okay. And favorite gaming device, whether that be console or PC, like what is your favorite? If you think of this is where I game, where do you game? I'll start with you again, Martin.
So right now my Steam Deck is my go-to.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. How about you, Felix?
Oh, it's probably mostly the PlayStation now with my daughter. We play some Lego game right now.
Excellent.
But I really love the old consoles like Nintendo 64 because I really love that they feel like a toy.
They have a very whimsical nature to them. They're almost Disney movies in gaming form. I agree. I always try to make sure that my daughter and my son get access to those things because that's how gaming started for all of us, I suspect. But gentlemen, this has been wonderful chatting with you guys. I wish I could tell the people to go seek it out, but it's difficult to do so right now. But hopefully we can continue to communicate, and as the game draws closer and closer to release, more people will be able to check it out. Now I will of course be here yelling and holding up flags saying go play this game because I think it's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Into the Unwell, Martin and Felix, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for chatting with us about the game. And as time goes on, I'm sure our audience will hear more from us about Into the Unwell. That's it.
Thanks for having us. And
thank you guys. Yes, of course, the access to the wish list page and all of that will be in the descriptions. It will be when this posts. So anyone who has any thoughts of it can go up there and take a look at it as well. So thank you guys.